Chiper136, and let us begin. So in the top of the map to the north we have the blue Germans that are Qvazar. To the bottom, to the south of the map in the red, we have Chiper136. Let's start, shall we? Right, the Germans building their first building as they would normally do, and they instantly start their grenadiers as they move to the south to take their first point. Looks like it's the ammunition point. The Russians are taking their first point as a con squad comes into play. They're going to move north-west, as it were. Grenadiers come in, and where are they going to head? They are spawning in the south of their base. That means must means they've been routed to go south. Chiper136 is moving towards the fuel depot as the con squad is moving towards that middle star, and the ammunition point has been captured for the Germans, and they will also move. Looks like they're moving towards the star. It's possible that they move further to the west, but I think they may head for the star. The Germans in the meantime, grenadiers wise, are going to move further into the middle, taking their next point. More grenadiers. Oh no, it's an HMG team on the field. They're going to head probably towards that middle star because they would want to cover the best they can. In the meantime, the Russians have another con squad out. They're going to move to the northeast, I'd imagine, take this next ammunition sector, as a little fight comes in here between the engineers and the pioneers. And there's another fight here between cons and grenadiers for this middle section. Could be an interesting little session of battle here, as another HMG squad's going to move further south than I thought, and they're going to set up and engage the con squad. Grenadiers have lost a man though, unfortunately. The first star is down for the Germans, but that won't be up for very much longer as the Russians come in to take that star. Grenadiers will push forward as the HMG squad does the job and takes the infantry and forces them to the retreat. Grenadiers are going to attack, move south probably towards this star that's being taken by the Russians. Another grenadier squad comes into play for the Germans as another con squad moves in towards this middle ground where that last battle took place. Meanwhile, the con squad to the north seems to be completely unopposed and is taking the points that the Germans probably should want, if I'm honest. Another grenadier squad comes into play as another battle here between engineers and pioneers takes place, both in cover, but the German pioneers are taking some serious hits, and they may not last very much longer. Yes, they will pull back. Grenadiers taking this middle sector, but two con squads are moving round to see what they can do against this grenadier unit, who some engineers must have tried to place down some barbed wire and stopped halfway through, which is unfortunate. That engineer squad's not going to do very much damage against that engineer squad, so they're going to retreat out as another grenadier unit moves in to try and take their star back for the Germans. Those grenadiers are overwhelmed by the two con squads that are sitting here, and they are going to sit, and I would imagine they were going to fall back. Yes, they are going to fall back. Battle phase 1 is completed for the Germans, and they are going to move back to base. Con squad engaging in the middle here for this point, probably their closest point that they shouldn't really have lost, but they did, as the Germans are now trying to take their star back. Cons are engaging, but they're not doing a very good job, unfortunately. They're getting hit quite badly at the moment as another con squad comes in behind as the Germans take the building. mechanized company comes into fruition, and I imagine not very long before some kind of maybe half-track or scout vehicle or a set of Panzer Grenadiers comes out of that. As the two con squad are engaging on these Grenadiers, imagine if they had a Molotov cocktail available, they may want to use them. I don't think they have them upgraded yet. Let me just double check. Molotov cocktails are being researched as we speak, so they don't have them available, which could be some kind of a problem there for the con squad. Pioneers are engaging con squad into the middle star as they take the star, and that's the second star up for the Russians as they move out. Con squads both now start to engage this Grenadier squad here for this middle point. Still, the Grenadiers are taking hits in that building, and finally a Molotov goes down, and those con squad decides to retreat out of there. Another Molotov goes down on top of the Grenadiers. I've just missed it, but they are forced to retreat as the con squad is now being engaged by the HMG, but the HMG is about to get flanked, and I can imagine that it won't be very long before some kind of Molotov is taken, but it looks like they're going to push this point and try and engage this MG before it gets into a building or any position that's not very good for the Russians. The Russians will just drop a Molotov in there, and I'd imagine it'd be pretty silly to let the MG set up, but it's going to set up, and Molotov is going in, and the Germans are quick there to move out of the building. Very well played. But they will lose that point nonetheless, and the Germans look like they're in a little bit of trouble here. They have a star, so do the Russians, and they start losing points, but at the moment the Russians have a lot of the territory. A lot of the territory indeed. The Germans relocate back into the building that is still technically on fire. It's now stopped. And I can't imagine that MG is going to last very much longer in there, but it's done some good suppression on those 3 infantry units, but it's got to fall back. It has to, and it might run into some danger here. Yes, it does. It gets completely destroyed there. The Germans here are moving to the right flank of the Russians, trying to take some of the points. I'm surprised that the Russians haven't taken the star. Quite a strange set of events there. It looks like a lot of the fire is going to be in this middle section as a rifle grenade hits those MG unit. Very, very nice little capture there for the Germans, as the Russians who have stolen that MG42 are going to get away with a 342, it looks like. Half-track finally comes into play. It's learning it's getting the flame ability, so that's going to be very useful against all these infantry that the Russians seem to have, but they do now have a scout car with a engineer unit, and I can only imagine that the engineer unit is getting their flame upgrade here. I can't imagine them being in there for any other purpose than to get the flame, and there we go, they get the flame straight away. Grenadiers are engaging cons here, and they're going to capture that point, and at the moment the cons are going to win this because the Grenadiers are stood out in the open. Unless the cons or the Grenadiers can get some kind of rifle grenade out, then they're going to have some fun there, it looks like. Rifle grenade comes out just as I thought, and the cons decide to retreat, but not before some more cons come in and try and take the fight to the Germans. Half-track has now got its flame ability, and it's going to start to try and engage some of these infantry units, starting with this con squad in the cover down here. It looks like a big push here in the middle as three con squads and a HMG squad come into play. They will look like to push towards this middle star, as they are. They're also capturing this bottom star, so they're going to be at an advantage in a second. But this half-track is going to come in here and it's going to do some serious damage. Let's follow this. HMG, although not directly going into the fight, it is putting some fire down onto these infantry, but it's kind of moving away as this scout car comes in right behind this Pack 40, and it might do some serious damage here. It does do some serious damage, completely destroys that Pack 40. But the scout car is going to do some damage to this car if it's not careful, so they're going to have to get out of there. HMG squad's doing a fantastic job to pin down these infantry as this half-track with the flame ability comes in and basically forces the Russians to retreat. That was very well played by the Germans there. Although this scout car was a bit of a handful, it was dealt with quite nicely by the scout car, and although it's still in play, it's not really doing any kind of damage other than to harass the enemy, harass the Germans. Pretty much all of the infantry fell back there for the Russians. They are now just reorganising and coming back into play as the Grenadiers have literally gone round the whole map and taken all this right hand side for the Germans. And you would say now that the Germans have a little bit of an advantage with a little bit more of the territory. Some of the Russian territory is also out of connectability, or whatever the bloody word you want to use, and very well played there by that half track, dispatching this scout car and infantry unit the best it can. And a little bit of a tussle here, a little bit of a flame war as it were, and the infantry units get knocked out, the scout car gets knocked out, and the Germans come out of that very much a winner. Got a sniper team and an HMG team coming into position here for the Russians as they also push with 3 con squads to this bottom star. That Grenadier squad's going to have quite a lot of fun in a second when they notice that there's 3 con squads coming right down their throats. They should do a little bit of damage here, but they're not going to be. They're going to try and get in this building, and it's probably going to be the worst thing they could do, because if at least one Molotov comes down, then it's pretty much over for this Grenadier squad. Come on, I can sense they're trying to get a. Where is the Molotov? I want to see a Molotov, please. No, well, no Molotov's going down at the moment, and that. There we go, Molotov has gone down, but it's too late. They've took too much time over that Molotov, and this flame unit is going to come in and it's going to pulverise this infantry. One con squad is pretty much dead, the second is pretty much dead, and the third is going to retreat out, and that was quite bad by the Russian player there. They should have put force down onto that squad in the building and took them out as quickly as possible, but instead they took their time over it, and that flame half-track literally came in and murdered everybody, which is exactly what they were built for. The Russians finally take this bloody star that's been sitting here completely neutralised for the last, I don't know, 12 minutes. And the Germans are slowly bringing up more and more. There's a half-track mortar team on the field. They are slowly getting back some of the ground that they had taken from them, and the Grenadiers may look like to fall back here because, or maybe just get a better position to try and ambush this con squad. They need to get a rifle grenade down, is exactly what they do. Nice shot on the rifle grenade, takes 2 of the infantry out, but unfortunately they are outnumbered and outgunned at the moment, and a Molotov is going to go down and they are going to burn, unfortunately. And they are going to completely burn. They just managed to retreat out. Very lucky by the Germans there. They could have lost that unit, and that would have been a waste of resources to lose. Nonetheless, the scout car vehicle is going to go around and try and take this sniper squad out. Very, very good catch if they can get the. Oh, they do. They're going to murder that unit. Yep, they do. Engineers going to come in here. They're not going to do very much damage because the scout car is going to engage them, I'd imagine. We have their first piece of armour on the field. We have a T-34 76. The 76 is the millimetre of the main gun. It's not too bad of a vehicle to have out right now, considering the Germans pretty much have nothing to fight against it. They've got 2 half-tracks, one with flame, one with mortar. They've got a scout car. They've got several infantry units, 2 of which are very low on their health, but the Panzer Grenadier units are pretty decent here, so they're going to engage and take the 3 points here completely out of territory for the Russians. a second T-34-76 comes into play. This is a massive advantage for the Russians, and they are going to push the Germans now in every which way, unless there's some kind of retaliatory force. I can't say that word, so I'm not going to try and say it again. The Grenadiers are going to take one look at those tanks, and they're going to have to run away. There is no way in hell that Panzer Grenadier or the HMG team are going to win against these tanks. Now, what the Germans are going to bring in a Pak 40 to try and deal with these T-34s. I don't think that's going to be good enough for the Germans. The Germans are going to have to build their third building, get their next battle phase, which they haven't got enough resources to do just yet. And I'm thinking if they do it now, they may get away with this. If they don't do it quickly enough, they won't win this game. Anyway, while this is all going on, the Con Squad is going to take this middle point. T-34-76 is going to move up and start to engage. Pretty much, they could probably walk straight into their base right now and just murder everything. I mean, if I knew the situation of the Germans and I was the Russians right now, I'd attack, move in. Pretty much. Anyway, Pak 40 comes onto the field. Unless you can get a really good ambush onto these T-34s, they are going to do nothing against that tank, because the tank will just move right round the back and murder as they move in to take this middle point. The Russians have a lead at the moment. They've got 2 stars to 1 for the Germans. The German Grenadier group will move and take this bottom star, but I don't think the Russians will be too worried about that just yet, considering that they have 2 tanks and the Germans have nothing. This flame half track is going to get ambushed here if it's not careful enough. The Con Squad is going to be taken out, or at least damaged quite profusely, but these 2 tanks must come in here and defend this Con Squad. They're just sitting there doing nothing at the moment. Come on. Come on, T-34s, come in and help. Come on. There we go. Half track is taking some serious damage, as is this Con Squad from the mortars, and this half track is going to engage here and is literally going to wipe them out. Scout car is not going to stand a chance against this unit, but this Pak 40 is in a really good position here. Can the Pak 40 engage? It can. It takes a good hit against the T-34-76. Another great hit. That tank is down to half health. That was a really good place to put that Pak 40. Very good place. This other T-34-76 has been joined by a T-70, and it's going to start to engage this infantry. The Pak 40 has moved in, and another Pak 40, one that I didn't even see was on the field, came in and took that tank out. Great play. Great play from the Germans. I underestimated how the Germans could take those tanks, and I'm happy to say that I was completely wrong, and those tanks were dealt with very, very well by the Germans. Very well. This Pak 40 team, though, may have a bit of trouble here from these infantry units. They've got no real defence apart from this half-track coming in that will murder those Con Squads. But they've got to be very careful here, this half-track. It's quite low down. So those Pak 40s have done a very good job there. They're in a very good position and took at least one of the T-34s out and did some damage to the other. Some over half damage. That was fantastic there by very well played by the Germans. I'm absolutely amazed how well that worked out for the Germans. Anyway, the Germans have finally stopped their points from falling. Looks pretty even at the moment, even with no armour on the map for the Germans, which I'm sure they will want to rectify very soon by building their next building. They will be taking this middle point, and the points will start to fall for the Russians again. Also, taking this fuel point up here will do a lot of help to the resources of the Germans. HMG squad, which was captured pretty much right at the start of the game for the Russians, is doing some serious damage against this infantry unit. But the infantry unit, the Grenadiers, will take that point, but they are pinned. They're going to have to retreat out of there unless they want to die. But mortars, I hear a mortar, and there it is. The mortar is going to drop right on that position. Very nice little incendiary. A little bit too far though, and that infantry unit will take some damage, but they won't take as much damage as they should have done if that was placed a little bit better. Nonetheless, mortars and the incendiary units are taking some kind of really good fire there. Really good fire. Scout car with a 20mm upgrade has come in to try and engage this conscript infantry. The T-34-76 though is going to say hello and try and take this out. Maybe the Pak-40s are in a position to try and help. They are not. They've got really good range on them, this Pak-40s, but the tank is not in range, unfortunately. That Grenadier squad though, if it gets a decent hit with a Panzerfaust onto there, it might do a decent job, but it doesn't. And another T-34-76 comes into play. Surely the Germans need to build their next building and try and get some Panzers on the field, because they're not really doing a good enough job. As the Pak-40 is in danger of being destroyed, it is completely destroyed. They've only got one Pak-40 left on the field. This scout car is going to be in trouble, and we've got a bit of a push here between the two T-34s and the T-34-76s and the T-70. That half-track is not going to last very much longer if it stays where it's staying, and it's going to move out. But I don't think this is going to be able to get away here. They may take out this engineer squad though. That might be a nice little kill, but unfortunately, even though with the veterancy that it's just gained, the T-34-76 is going to destroy this half-track if it's not careful. One more shot and that's down. Very good use of smoke there from the half-track, and that will survive. Excellent job. It's got 32 kills, that half-track. I'm amazed. Pak-40 is just about to come into range on these tanks, but amazingly, the tanks have stopped just short of the range of the Pak-40, but not so much anymore. They're going to start to engage now. The Pak-40 is going to focus on the T-70, missing two shots there. That may be enough for the T-34 to come in and engage here. But the Pak has decided to stop firing, as is the T-34-76, and surely artillery now coming into place here for, I think it's the Germans actually. Well, it's not, because if it was the Germans, they've just killed their own units. I think that was the Russians. And the Russians are slowly pushing forward, even though at the moment it's very equal. The Russians have got the ground at the moment, with the fact that they have two pieces of armour plus a piece of light armour. Oh, that's really well played by the Russians at the moment. They're sending infantry as well. Surely that scout tank is down. It certainly is. And both the T-34-76s have taken a little bit of damage, but they've done a really good job there. The T-70 has also done a good job. And they're going to sit and probably take this middle point. Hopefully take it, because it would push those points down further, but they don't seem to be worrying about that at the moment. The Russians take the Pak-40 from the Germans' dead hands, and they will utilise that to the best of their abilities, even though at the moment, apart from the half-track, there's nothing else vehicle-wise in for the Germans. They do, however, have another Pak-40 here, and they're going to start to be engaged here by the HMG and the Pak-40 that's just been stolen. Panzer do some serious damage here, but that half-track is going to go round the back, and this could be quite a good move here. Come on there. Oh, that's a horrible move there. The half-track has done some serious damage to that Pak 40, and it's going to move some smoke. It's going to take some damage, and this could be curtains for the Pak 40. It certainly is, and this other Pak 40 though may get a good hit here, and this half track could be in danger, could be in some serious danger, but I think it's going to get away again. I'm amazed at how resilient this half track is. It's taken so much damage and yet it's still alive. Unbelievable. It's got now 40 kills. Well played. That has to be one of the units of the day for me. Well played there by the German team. But the Germans are in a bit of trouble here. They're losing points. They still haven't got a Panzer coming in. They still haven't got their third building up, or their fourth for that matter, and they are still not bringing in any kind of armour to try and counter this other armour that the Russians have got. Germans are taking this bottom, or this westerly star, as is this point. I can't speak sometimes today. It's been quite a strange day. But there's going to be a little bit of a fight here between Con Squad and the two Grenadier squads, but I can't see the Con squads doing that much damage because that Grenadier squad in particular is upgraded veterancy wise. Yet this other Grenadier squad seems to be doing nothing. It seems to not be doing anything until right this second, as a plane flies over. That must be a reconnaissance plane. It will have seen those tanks moving in, and surely that the Germans will have to bring in something heavier here. They must bring in something heavier because they've got nothing against these tanks. Pak 40 is going to come into play, but I think it's going to be too late. I think the tanks are going to move past here as one of the tanks takes a hit with a Panzerschreck. It certainly is. Now the Germans, I've just looked at the doctrine, they've got a Tiger tank that's going to be available very soon. I just want to thank RTS Doug for pointing that out. Very nice little spot there. Looks like they're saving up for this Tiger tank here, and that could be very useful, but they need it right now. They don't need it in a couple of minutes when it's going to become available. They need it right this second. They do, however, take out one of the T-34-76s, but the other one is full health, as is the T-70. Unfortunately, though, it does mean that there's nothing to stop this onslaught by these tanks against this HMG squad in particular. 3 con squads, 2 tanks. They're not doing very well here at the moment, but the Germans have got the lead. They've got the points on the board, and although technically they are right in the middle, i.e. they are level on points roughly, the Germans have still not got enough to try and take out these tanks. They have a Pak 40, but unless it's put into a right position, which it's not at this moment in time, they are not going to be able to take these tanks out. We are close though now to a Tiger. They need 600 manpower and another 6 fuel to get this Tiger tank in, so this is going to be quite close. I reckon maybe another minute or so before this Tiger comes into play. Once the Tiger comes into play, if the Germans utilise it well enough, they use infantry and the Tiger to move in towards this centre area, then they will be able to do some serious damage. As this half track comes into play again, this T-70 might come round here and do some damage against it. It certainly does, and the half track is taking some damage here. Just not a lot though. I mean, the second star of veterancy does reduce the amount of damage it takes, but I'm surprised at how much it's kind of been resilient to all damage really. The T-34 really wants that kill though. Tiger tank is now. I'm almost certain that he's going to take it. Tiger tank comes out. Let's watch this for a second. This beautiful Tiger tank. Utilise it with infantry, please, Mr. Qvazar, and we shall get some really good fights with this, and I don't think it can be really beaten at this moment in time. We do, however, have an IS-2 onto the field for the Russians. This could turn out to be a fantastic battle between a Tiger tank and the IS-2. The IS-2 has got a 122mm gun. It's slow firing though. It's very good against armour like the Tiger tank. The Tiger tank on the other hand has got an 88-36 or KWK-36 gun. Pretty much destroy any kind of armour. That T-34 is not going to have very much of a chance, but this IS-2 here is going to be very effective. Tiger tank is in play. T-34 is getting fixed up. IS-2 is on the field. This is turning out to be a fantastic battle. We are very close here. The Russians have all the points, or will have all the points in a second, as the T-70 has decided to try and engage a Tiger tank. I'm sorry, Mr. T-70, but unless you're made of, like, unobtainium, you are, I'm afraid, going to get absolutely murdered. The 88 rips through that T-70's armour. The IS-2 is doing nothing at the moment. Surely it should be moving, but it's not. It's just going to sit, and the infantry is going to go headlong right into what I can only describe as the metal death corridor, as Pak-40s, mortars and Tiger tank shells are coming into play. But the IS-2 has moved up slightly, and it may start to think about engaging this Tiger, but it doesn't. It turns around and it moves in a completely different direction. I think I know what he's doing. He's coming in from the side. T-34 may actually try and ram the tank. That's the only useful ability it has against a Tiger tank like that. At the moment the Russians are holding the ground. The Pak-40 has started to engage the IS-2. It's taken a little bit of damage, but at the moment the shells are kind of bouncing right off the top of the IS-2. IS-2 falls back a little bit, so it's stopped getting engaged by the Pak-40, but this infantry is taking some really heavy hits here. Mortars, HMGs, Tiger tanks, Pak-40s. Not a lot of options here for the... Whoa! Incendiary attack here hits right in the middle. Luckily for them, nothing was in the way, and the Tiger tank is going to move forward a little bit here, maybe try and engage this IS-2. But that Pak-40 there is in position to maybe try and give some hits, but it's just out of reach for the Pak-40. And the Tiger's literally just going to sit there. Can it even see? It can't see the Pak-40. Can the Pak-40 see the Tiger tank? I don't think it can. Or at least it can now, but is it going to move? That's the question. It's not going to move, and there is an engagement here between the Tiger and the IS-2. Now the T-34-76 comes into play, and it's going to ram it. An excellent idea to ram that tank there. It destroys the main weapon and the engine of the Tiger tank. And unfortunately though, the T-34-76 has been sacrificed and will be destroyed. There we go. Those pioneers need to get right on top of that Tiger tank to do any kind of damage, as the half-track is sitting to be engaged on by this IS-2. Tiger half-track, you need to move. With your 46 kills, you've got to move, son. Thank you very much. Engineers are repairing this tank very quickly. It's only a matter of time before it comes back up. Nonetheless, this middle ground looks like it's turning into some kind of trench warfare here in this no man's land, where the mortars and Pak-40s are being shot at almost all the time as the Tiger tank comes back into play. But I think an incendiary attack's coming in here, and everyone's going to move out of the way, and the incendiary drops right on top of the Tiger, but it does no damage to anything else and the Tiger itself. And the IS-2 is in a really decent position here to do some really good damage to this Tiger tank here. It misses its first shot though. And why is the Tiger sitting face on as the IS-2 takes a hit to the front? Tiger tank needs to do some more damage than that. There's another good shot there, but the Tiger's taken very little damage so far, very little damage at all. The IS-2 is finally going to engage as the Tiger tank's taken a little bit of damage there, but the IS-2 is losing this fight. Losing this fight at all. Half-track comes into play here, does some serious damage against that Pak-40 as the IS-2 falls back. The IS-2, sorry, not the IS-2. The IS-2 is a different tank altogether. Half-track has done its job there. It's got another 9 kills in the last... No, sorry, 7 kills in the last, like, 2 minutes. And that has to be one of the best half-tracks I've ever seen play in this game. Oh, a little bit of a lull in battle here as the Germans are trying to take this top star here. But they're going to have some fun trying to wade through some of that fire. HMG is going to engage this infantry squad that's trying to move in onto this middle point. At the moment, the Germans are holding ground quite nicely. They've taken the second star. They would like to get this middle star, but at the moment the Russians have still got a victory point lead at the moment. They've got a 150 point lead. Tiger Tank is going to fall back a little bit here. Half-track is behind the Pak 40. IS-2 is still not been repaired. That must be an oversight by the Russian player. He's got to stop that tank and get some kind of repair on it, because it can't go back into battle with that amount of health. Germans are finally taking this middle point with the mortars and the Pak 40s by the Germans. They've successfully held their ground, and in a second they are going to get this middle star. They are going to lose this bottom star, unfortunately for them, but they're going to start to get some points off the Russian team, which is exactly what they need. Half-track is going to try and engage this con squad, and it's going to do a very good job, but that con squad could get an AT round off onto them if it can get past the waves and waves of bloody flames that are coming out of that tank. Holy shit, that half-track is just overpowered to like the nth degree. We've got a KV-8 heavy tank coming in here, flamethrower tank. Are they going to have a flamethrower war here? It's possible that they are. IS-2 comes into play here in the middle, as it's finally been repaired. But this KV-8 is changed its gun to its 45mm. It's going to do a little bit of damage to this half-track, but not as much as a Tiger would, for instance, or a IS-2. Tiger tank moved forward there. I don't think it engaged at all with the IS-2. The IS-2 is going to cover off and see if it's going to help out their infantry over this kind of area here, as the Russians finally are starting to get back on their feet. The Germans definitely do need panzer support. Panzer support would be fantastic, because just on its own they have a Tiger tank. Yes, that is a massive deal, but if they want to win this game, they're going to need to bring in at least another Panzer IV, maybe Ostwind. I personally, here in this position, if I had this Tiger tank, I'd get an Ostwind to come with it, because the Ostwind is really good rate of fire and it is fantastic against infantry, whereas the Tiger tank's not that great against infantry, in all honesty. Tiger is going to move to the west here. It's going to try and engage this star, I'd imagine, maybe trying to take out this heavy flamethrower tank, which seems to be quite a... in all honesty, that's one of the most useless units in the whole game. I mean, it's slow, which means the infantry can just run away. Yes, it's heavily armoured, which means it's quite difficult to destroy, but up against a Tiger tank like this, it can't really do that much damage, honestly. As the Russians move in here to try and take this middle star, I'm going to focus on this battle here. That point of veterancy for the German could not be any better there, any better at all. IS-2 is coming to play for the Russians here in the middle, as the Tiger is engaging this KV-8. If I was the Tiger now, I'd attack, move to the middle. Once it's destroyed that KV-8, you can get the hell out of there and try and engage this IS-2. Because at the moment, although the mortar's doing a really good job at engaging this infantry, this middle area is going down strong. This Pak 40 needs to come in and start to hit this ISU on the side. What's being made here? Heavy Panzer Corps here is down for the Germans, which means that they can bring in Panthers if they so wish. They haven't got the resources at the moment. They may do in a second. They will have enough in literally about 5 seconds time to bring a Panther to get into the game. That might be a very good choice from Qvazar if he decides to bring in this Panther. No change yet though on that front. As the Pack 40 comes in, takes a really good hit on this Tiger tank, takes a lot of the health off it. There's still no Panther coming for the Germans. Why not? Why not indeed? Half-track does some even more damage. Do you believe that half-track has got 64 kills? 64 infantry kills, most of them AT weapons. Fantastic unit. Fantastic unit. MVP, of course, for the Germans. The Russians don't seem to have very much left on the field. I mean, they have a couple of comm squads and a couple of shock trooper squads. They have their IS-2. But in general, they are running low. And it could be... This could be an issue for them. But the Germans aren't even taking the stars though. So at the moment, unless the Germans actually take the stars, it would seem quite pointless to say that the Germans are winning, because they're not. They are technically losing here. And if they're not careful, Qvazar could lose this map after coming back really strong in the last 10 minutes. That Pack 40 is going to take some hits. It's going to in fact be completely destroyed, unfortunately for the German. And Qvazar is finally building his Panther. The problem is, it may be too late. It may be too late. Even if this Tiger takes this IS-2 down, which at the moment is not doing very well at all against this IS-2. Half-track is coming into play with its 64 kills, 65 now as I speak. It's going to take a little bit of damage, but it's going to run away nonetheless. IS-2 has taken some hits, but nothing it can't handle against the Panzer Grenadiers. Mortars even hitting the top of it, and Panzerschrecks. This Tiger needs to come in right now. The Panther is also on the field here. They need to engage this IS-2 right this second and capture these points. If they do not capture these points, then it's over for the Germans. And the Germans need to take this Pack 40 out for a start, and they also need to take out this IS-2. The Tiger's focusing on the Pack 40 with its ass to the Pack 40. That's pretty bad for the Tiger tank. The IS-2 gets another decent hit onto the Tiger tank, and the Tiger tank is going to fall back, and this Panther may want to think about sacrificing itself here to try and do some serious damage to this IS-2, but it's not. It's going to fall back. And that was an absolutely horrible move by the Germans. As far as I was concerned, that Tiger didn't do nearly enough damage. Yes, it finally took out the Pack 40, but it should have done more damage to this IS-2. And if I'm honest, that's it for the Russians. The Germans can't win this game as far as I can see. They're in such a horrible position. Unless they can capture a star or two right this second. Oh no, Mr. Half-Track. You're engaging the IS-2 here, buddy. You need to run away right now. And I don't think... Oh, the IS-2... Oh dear. Come on, Half-Track. You may think you're really hard, but you're not that hard, son. With your 69 kills, but when you're facing up again... Why? Why did you just do that, IS-2? You could have destroyed the Half-Track and got a little bit of glory for yourself there. Oh, that's so strange. Panther is going to try and engage the... Have I missed the Tiger being destroyed? I think the Tiger's gone. No, the Tiger is there. I thought I'd lost the Tiger then, but it's still there. But it's still very low on health, as this Panther is engaging the IS-2 finally, but it's not doing very much damage, unfortunately. This Tiger has got to move now. It's got to move, and it's got to try and take out, do something against this IS-2. This IS-2's done a really good job. It's got 20 kills. 1 vehicle and 1 building has been destroyed. The Germans are finally neutralising their point. They could start to push this game the other way, but they need to do a really good job now of destroying this IS-2. Panther is going to move round the side of it, and it's going to do some damage here. But the IS-2's cannon of 122mm is going to tear up this Panther really badly if it's not careful. This ISU, the IS-2, I keep saying ISU, really annoying. The ISU is a tank destroyer. Panther has decided to fall back. Tiger is at half health here, and the engineer squad is going to be taken out if it's not careful. The IS-2 is coming back into play here, and although the smoke goes down for the Tiger, I think this could be... Oh, that Tiger's taken another hit on its tracks there. Although it's doing some good damage against the infantry, it's not doing anything against this IS-2. And it's all about keeping these tanks up as the half-track gets to 72 kills. 72 bloody kills for a half-track. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. But I'm surprised that the Germans haven't brought in another tank here. They could bring in another Panther right this second. Instead, they're going to bring in some rocket artillery. Not so sure about that decision. Not sure about that decision at all. This HMG squad is going to neutralise this middle point, but it's going to need to take at least another one to guarantee their victory. Panther is engaging the ISU, but I cannot honestly see anything coming out of this but a Russian victory, because both German tanks are down to half health here. ISU is being engaged by the Panther, but the Panther is... Surely you can't back out from that. You need to go further into that and take that out. Yes, go for it, son. Conscript squad damages the Panthers, and it's dead. The ISU gets the final shot on that Panther and it's dead. But the Tiger is still into play as the rocket artillery come into play. I'm not so sure about that. Oh dear, Chiper136 is guaranteed his victory here by bringing in a second IS-2. Yes, you heard me correctly, a second IS-2. The Panzer Grenadiers are doing some good hits on this IS-2 though here. And the rocket artillery is doing a decent job, but with that second IS-2, this game is over for the Russians, surely. For the Germans, sorry. There's no way. No way. Oh dear, that was really... I don't know why they brung that in. I'm confused why the Germans brung rocket artillery instead of another Panther. IS-2 is mowing down the infantry and killing this Tiger tank. This Tiger tank's got nothing left, and it's over, surely, for the Germans now. Half-track is giving some flames of delight there, but it's not going to do enough here. And this Tiger tank is taking some serious hits, and it's doing some damage though. It's not coming out of this without a fight. And the IS-2 is going to do some serious damage against this Tiger. Come on. And it's back to it. Half-track coming in here with its 72 kills, and the Tiger tank has finally been destroyed, and maybe even this half-track could be destroyed just to add a little bit of salt to the wound. But instead the IS-2s are going to just nicely roll away. But if they're not careful, this Panzer Grenadiers might do some damage against this IS-2, and this other IS-2 is also very badly damaged here. Very badly damaged as well. This game is slowly coming down to the wire. It's quite strange. The Germans have the 2 points, and if they're not careful, they could, if they really pushed here, they could probably get some kind of decent result out of this. But the Russians seems to be stalling. The Consquare is going to move into this try and take this top star. They're not going to do a very good job because of that really well placed bunker, but the bunker is probably going to be incinerated here. Yeah, there it is, but the incineration's not doing any real damage to that bunker. Of course it will take some damage off it, but I don't think it will destroy it, and that con squad's going to have to move away. The Germans are going to neutralise this point here, but also going to get their bottom star neutralised, unfortunately, as the Molotov goes right into that building. Con squad does a good job there, but that we have to move out of the way. Pack 40 into play here. Could do some serious damage against this IS-2 if it gets into range. Unfortunately, at the moment, it's not in range. They need to move right now, but it's not in range. And the HMG squad's going to move out. The Germans have all 3 stars now, and the points, 3 points every 5 seconds, are going down for the Russians. The Russians have to seriously get their act together and start neutralising some of these stars. Because if they don't, and I mean if they don't, they could actually lose this. Bunker's been upgraded with an HMG, but an incendiary device comes down and absolutely murders a couple of those grenadier units. Cons are coming in for the Russians here towards the ISU, where one of them is back up to health, the other one is still in dire needs of some repairs. But at the moment, the Germans have very little to counter, apart from one Pack 40 and a half-track that's got 73 kills. Then 74 kills make that. Then this ISU really needs to destroy a couple of these things, and the cons need to make up their mind where they're going to go, because before they were moving south, they're now moving north towards this North Star, or this Northeast Star, and they could take that. And the Germans bring in a Panther here. They bring in a Panther. They've got a little bit of room to manoeuvre here, and I thought this was an open shut game for the Russians. I thought they were going to easily win this. Turns out they're going to make it more difficult for themselves by not bringing in units to try and take some of this infantry down. German half-track is deciding that it might just venture into the base with 74 kills and see if it can murder some of these infantry. Well, in fact, let's murder all these infantry, because hey, I'm a half-track and I take no damage whatsoever. I've got 83 kills. Oh my word. Oh my word. IS-2's coming back to engage this half-track. This half-track is going to try and run away. It may just about survive this. Unbelievably survive this. Absolutely amazing. This IS-2 over here, though, it may get caught, this half-track, if it's not careful. Certainly is going to take another hit. It certainly does. I'm not too sure how much time that 122mm cannon takes to reload, but it may get away. It does. Unbelievable how that half-track has literally just walked straight through their lines, taken a bit of damage, got up to 83 kills, and amazing. But this could be the winning move for the Russians. They've got a scout car with the engineer with a flame in it. Unless they move the Panther here to counter this, it could be over for the Germans here. The 2 ISUs, which are pretty much completely invulnerable at the moment because the fact that they're so difficult to kill. Oh, the Pack 40's done a fantastic job of taking out the scout car. The Grenadiers need to take out these infantry, or this game is going to be over in a matter of seconds. The infantry has been taken out for the Germans, but they need to get into this point, because it's 2 points every 5 seconds here, and they need to neutralise this point or it's going to be a loss for the Germans. Neutralise the point right now. I don't know what you're doing there, Grenadier Squad. What you're doing? That has just lost it for the Germans. It's over for the Germans, unfortunately. Yes. Very, very good game. Amazing game. Absolutely amazing game this has turned out to be. One of the best games I've ever witnessed, as far as I'm concerned, in Company of Heroes 2. I can't I can't say how great that game was. Wow. Chiper136 has done a fantastic job there, but he made it a lot harder than it should have been in the end. His utilisation of the IS-2 was decent to a certain amount. He should probably have killed the Tiger tank a little bit earlier. What I will say though is that there is a unit that is still alive. This half-track right here is definitely the unit of the day for me. MVP of this whole battle. ISU, Tiger, no, half-track. Fantastic game. 83 kills. The German guy should be very proud of himself for getting this far into this battle, because the Russians should really have absolutely murdered him, and instead he's done a good job to get back to what happened to be a close victory for the Russians.